Hello, we're here. We're back from a cruise.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for joining us today on this Sunday afternoon where we are. We are happy to be back with you live. We are Jill and Jerry, the Cruising Canucks.
And today we are going to talk about our latest cruise to Bermuda, how it was impacted by a hurricane, and how we managed to survive it all. So yeah, this is our Sunday podcast. It's actually live right now if you're seeing it live in person, but it turns into a podcast tomorrow morning, and we save it and wrap it all up for everybody to catch in a replay if you're busy on the weekend and not busy catching us here. And it has been 5 days of raining. I've been waiting for a chance to cut my lawn forever now, so I'm hoping to get back out there. I think we've seen the sun continuously ever since we've returned home from the hurricane cruise.
Yeah, not only has it been raining, it's been cold and raining too. Look, I'm wearing sweater already. Like, ooh.
Yeah, I know. I'm wearing a tropical shirt with this button done up. That's how cold it is.
I'm so sorry.
And my hair, what's going on?
Oh my.
I tried using conditioner in my hair while we were on this last cruise, so we'll see if you notice a difference in the vlog series that are coming out. No comment? Did you notice a difference? Do you ever look at my hair?
Did you use my conditioner?
No, I use the air conditioner. I use the air conditioning and conditioner in the shower, yeah.
But they only had shampoo conditioner combo in the shower.
Yeah, but I think in the hotel I had separate conditioner.
Oh, you did, yes.
It was very exotic, yes.
Oh, gosh. I'm so sorry, guys. This is not what you tuned in for.
Tuned in
All right.
to find out about my hair supplements.
Him and his hair, I tell you.
It doesn't take a lot of supplements anymore to keep it looking this good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what are we talking about today? What are we're
I
here.
don't know why we're here. What are we doing? We're so out of sync.
We're so happy because we went to a cruise not knowing if we were going to get on a cruise, and we did, and we were totally excited about so many different parts of it. So I guess that's why we're all excited.
Yes.
One of us.
Well, yeah, I guess so. No, you're right though. I mean, we left our house expecting an email, waiting for an email. We got to the airport, still no email. It just went on, kept refreshing our phone, trying to see, because we were petrified that it was going to be canceled.
Yep. So that's what we're going to talk about
But
today.
it didn't.
After we say hi to everybody and get a couple things out of the way, we're going to talk about all the details of what happened in this hurricane altered itinerary that we had, and how it all played out bit by bit, and how much fun we had or didn't have. Right?
Yeah.
Mostly it was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Except for the seasickness part, but I'll talk about that later. That was only one of us. Anyways,
There's a story, guys. There's a story to be told.
Always a story when you travel, Mrs. Canuck. Yes. What? Anyways, we are going to say hi to everybody that are already online, and we'll do that for, hopefully we can get everybody in, but if not, we'll cut it off 15, 20 minutes so we can get back to the exciting stuff about hurricanes. Hurricanes are always exciting, even when you're cruising. And then we'll see if you have any questions, comments about your cruises. I know that there was 19 different cruise itineraries that were impacted by Hurricane Erin, so we were only one of 19.
Wow.
So there's a stat for you. So there might be 18 other cruises out there, the people we didn't meet that were also impacted. And I know there was one Carnival ship that said, I don't care less, I'm going right through it all.
That's right.
We'll talk about that too.
Brave souls.
Brave souls. We haven't heard from anybody that was on that cruise to see how it felt. But so what's new this week? We have a video that just came out. I'm just trying to catch up in my brain where the videos were. We just did our ship tour of the Island Princess. Everybody can see that now. It came out right after we got back. We managed to film it and get it out right away. We wanted to show everybody the amazing ship that we found. And so that was the first one we released. And then this coming week, in a little while, a couple of days, we're going to have the getting to New York and the whole what happened with us trying to figure out if we're going to be on a cruise, if it was going to be canceled, what was going on. So that's the first one that comes out. And then later on this week, heading towards the next weekend, you'll see the embarkation day of it getting on the cruise. So I guess that lets you know that we did get on the ship.
There you go.
So there's a bit of a giveaway for the first one. So that's what's coming out. And what we had coming out last week while we were away, group cruise update. Do you have an update?
No.
Probably, well, there's no big update other than Caribbean Princess. We're getting closer to final payment. We have to wrap up the group. That's the end of October, but there is still time in the next 7-8 weeks to get booked if you're not booked.
Yeah, we're in the planning stages right now with Princess, getting everything all organized with that.
Group excursions.
It seems to be coming together nicely, and so we're excited for it. And Yeah, it's going to be a fun
Yeah,
time.
there's still some cabins. Some of the cabins are starting to fill up. It's getting a little bit tougher to find space, but there's still lots of availability.
Yeah, we do have some space left that they're going to let us have until final payments due. So if people do want to book, we can still book people.
Yeah, we still, in the next couple months here, as long as the ship doesn't magically fill up, but it looks like there's still space.
Yeah, exactly.
And that cruise is 12 days, Caribbean Princess, going all the way down to Colombia, Panama, and back up out of Fort Lauderdale.
Going to some great places like not Bermuda, sorry, Bonaire, but I've got everything crossed that I get there. I was trying to do Aruba and Bonaire in the same, and it came out with something totally wrong. But anyways, Bonaire, which is definitely, hopefully, going to happen this time.
That cruise leaves on January 28th of 2026. Is the date that's on. So if you're free, let us know. We'll see if we can get you on the group cruise for 12 days. Comment and question of the week. I thought this was an interesting one and kind of leads us well into the topic here.
Okay.
And it was a comment from Gerard saying that the Island Princess looks like it's half the size of the Sun Princess, but over double the public areas on board. A good example of how older ships have much better design features. And I really felt that throughout the entire cruise. That I felt that there was so much more lounge space and so much, even though there's less people on board, there was actually more venues that you could go in and around the ship. So that was the comment. You have no comment on that.
Well, am I allowed to talk about the Island Princess now?
A little bit. Just in reference.
I will just say the biggest bonus I think that ship had for me was the wheelhouse bar, the size of that venue, how they utilized it with entertainment coming in and changing out throughout the night. So you didn't have to get up and move if you didn't want to, because they rotated the entertainment in there every night. It was never so full that you couldn't get a seat in there. There was a lovely dance floor. There was lots of space between everybody. It was just the perfect venue, in my opinion, on a cruise ship. So I wish that size of wheelhouse bar carried on to all the new princess ships.
There you go. You got it out.
I got it out. I'm allowed to say it.
A little bit of talking. Trivia question of the week.
Okay.
This will lead us into the topic of the hurricane, but I was very curious about this, so maybe someone else is. And it was, when was the last time that the largest cruise ship in the world at the time was caught in a hurricane?
The largest?
Yep.
What year?
You have to go back to a year and a hurricane and what ship it was. And I couldn't believe this actually happened, that at the time, the largest cruise ship in the world was caught in a hurricane. I didn't realize this had ever happened in history. It's what caught my attention. So you can also scroll to the bottom and see if we have any guesses.
Oh.
I will even give you a hint.
Okay.
That the cruise line, this might not shock you because of largest cruise ship in the world statement.
Oh.
It was Royal Caribbean.
Okay. I have no idea.
It was a very famous hurricane. The very first one of the season, so it started with an A.
Andrew?
Oh, good job. You got the hurricane. Remember what year Andrew was?
Not a clue.
1992.
Okay.
You're getting closer to the answer.
Still don't know the name of the ship.
The name of the ship, this was the largest ship of the world at the time the Hurricane Andrew hit the Florida coast, and it was the Sovereign of the Seas Royal Caribbean.
There you go.
That's fascinating to me, that that the largest ship in the world would be caught in a hurricane in this day and age. Even in the 90s, technology was not too bad. But what was even more fascinating is
what?
There was 2 other cruise ships caught in the same hurricane.
Oh.
Both Carnival ships. So 3 cruise ships actually in the kind of, space of what would be considered hurricane strength winds.
You think they hired meteorologists after that?
This is, all this is an elaborate pitch for me to get a job at a cruise line. Yes.
He's pitching right now. Anybody working with a cruise line? Meteorologists here looking for a job.
Anyways, so after 1992, what happened is Andrew took a quick turn to the west and ran into eventually Florida, and we knew the devastation that it caused there. But at the same time, what happened was several cruise ships had decided they thought they'd be able to get by Andrew, and they didn't, and they got caught in the storm. And that's kind of reminded me what we were on with our trip, because the hurricane was coming up the coast. They thought it was not going to come near the coast, so there was decisions being made in our cruise. But anyways, in the case of Andrew, it did take a turn to the left and went into Florida. Caught Sovereign of the Seas. There is some video kicking around, if you look it up online here and there, of like literally windows being smashed out and furniture whipping across the room and people getting injured. Like it was a bad scene. But after 1992, the cruise industry was kind of like brought to task on this as far as deciding that profits and everything else were higher than safety. And so a lot of cruise ships started to cancel, change itineraries, and err on the side of caution instead of on the side of trying to get through to do an itinerary. And I think that plays well into
What happened
our
with us?
experience, right? So I thought it was a really interesting bit of trivia and information that I found.
All right.
Did you?
It's very interesting.
It's very interesting. Oh,
Weather is so interesting for me.
weather is so interesting for you, is it? Okay, you're now to talk about the Island Princess.
Woo, yay.
We're there.
Finally. What time is it? Halfway through the hour?
Yeah,
and you finally
that's
let
it.
me
We're out
talk?
of time.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So we left here. We knew there was a hurricane in the way of our itinerary. We were supposed to go from New York down to the Caribbean for 3 stops and come back up the Atlantic to Bermuda and back to New York.
Right.
In the middle of that was Hurricane Aaron, Category 5 hurricane at the time that we were leaving our house to go down to New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So we literally did not have a clue what was going to happen. We had some guesses, educated guesses, based on what I was looking at from the weather standpoint, is what their options would be.
My biggest fear, if you watched our live before we left away, was that I was going to get an email saying that the cruise is leaving, but it's heading to Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and Quebec, that sort of thing, because they've done that in the past.
Yeah, we kind of thought that there was 3 possible outcomes when we left here and jumped in the plane and went down there. We thought, we're going to find out today that either we're going to Canada and you didn't have a chance to adjust your wardrobe. That was the fear.
That was the fear. I may have thrown in a little bit of extra warm clothes just in case, guys.
We thought also there was a chance that we were going to make a run for it. And we were going to have some really bumpy weather to sail through to try to get the itinerary completed. We thought that was a real possibility because the hurricane wasn't supposed to hit land or hit New York City. So we thought there was a chance. And we thought there was a chance that the hurricane's going to be in the way and we can't get anywhere. So maybe the ship can't leave New York City. That's kind of where the 3 options were before we went down to New York.
Right.
So we got down to New York. We spent the entire day, and you'll see that in the video coming out this week, of waiting, checking for information, nothing from Princess all day long. And we're like, what's going on? Like, are we just going to, we thought no news meant business as usual. And then 11 o'clock at night, we got an email from Princess. What did it say?
It said, we realized that there is a hurricane in our path. We are keeping an eye on it.
So there you go.
That was it. That's all they said.
That's it. So yeah,
They acknowledged that hurricane was existing.
I could have wrote that email for them probably 10 days before that point, but that's what Princess did, was let us know there was a hurricane that was there that could impact. But that was our first sign that, okay, it isn't business as usual. Something's up if they're giving us a heads up. We kind of suspected something was going on there.
So what we sort of heard through the grapevine, which sort of clued in the pieces to us, we were on the Facebook group for people that were going on this cruise with us. And there was somebody that was already on the ship. And what they were able to share was that they heard that the captain that was with them on that sailing was disembarking the day that it got back to Brooklyn. And then a new captain was coming on the day that we were embarking. So they weren't making a call until they had the current captain with them, which kind of made sense.
And we've heard this multiple times from different sources and ship tours and everything else, that at the end of the day, regardless of what all the information is, the final decision lies with the captain. Mm-hmm. And we knew if the final decision was lying with the captain, that until he actually physically got on that ship that morning that we were getting on the ship, that there wouldn't be a decision made and he would have to start the process of making that decision. So we expected it to happen the next day when we found this out. And we figured it probably wouldn't be till later in the day because he was going to have to crunch all that information to make a decision by the time we were supposed to leave.
Right. So we went to what in the program, when we got on board the ship that day, embarkation day, we went to what in the program it said was the sail away party. But little clue that we were up ready for a change was the cruise director kept coming on the announcements and talking about the welcome aboard party. So that was what clued us into the thought that, not sure we're going to be sailing away today.
At the time that we're supposed to, yeah. But at the same time, there was conflicting clues on the ship that all the pools, there was 2 of them on the main deck up higher. Actually, there was 3 in total, but one's just a splash pool. But all the pools were closed, but not only closed with a net on them, they were closed and bone dry. Like they were empty right to the no water left. Yeah. And we thought that was kind of unusual. We'd never seen that, especially on a beautiful sunny day when people could have been in the pool.
Yeah, it was a very hot day in Brooklyn that day, so you could have easily been using the pools had there been water in them.
So that made us think that maybe we are trying to get by the edge of the storm. They know it's going to be wavy and rocky, and they don't want any water in the pool splashing around, so they've drained the pool. So that's where we were. So we had 2 pieces of information. Are we leaving and going through it, or are we going to be staying here and having a party at the dock?
Yeah, we really weren't sure.
So we went to the deck party. did a little bit of deck party stuff. Everything was kind of normal that you'd expect at a deck party. We come back to get ready to go for dinner, and we were literally in the elevator from the Lido deck to get down to where our cabin was, and the captain comes on this overhead speaker in the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the information started to roll out.
Right.
So it turns out that we were told that we would be staying in Brooklyn in New York City for 3 nights.
That's right.
So we were not leaving that day, that they were not going to chance it with the hurricane.
So that meant that we had 3 protocols that were taken off of the list. We missed out on going to Grand Cayman.
Nope.
Sorry.
We missed out going on Grand Turk.
Grand Turk, sorry.
San Juan.
San Juan and Amber Cove, Dominican Republic. So those 3 days were taking off of our cruise itinerary. We were docked in Brooklyn for 3 nights and then proceeded to go to Bermuda, and they added a day
Extra day in Bermuda. So the captain came on and explained all this. The strategy was that Aaron was going to go up, pick up speed once it got past kind of the east coast of the U.S. and go north of Bermuda and head towards Europe. And that would leave us the ability to come in its wake and go through to Bermuda. Mm-hmm. And I say literally in its wake because it was still fairly wavy. We still had 10 to 20 foot seas once we finally did leave Brooklyn on the Friday, which was 3 days later. Mm-hmm. And it was a little rocky going for some people. Some people got seasick.
Was not me.
Not this one ever.
We were traveling with a nurse, as many of you may know, Paul and Carol from Paul and Carol Love to Travel. And so the day we left, I can remember Carol saying to you, "Did you take your seasickness medication?" And he's like, "Nope, I don't need it. It's going to be fine. It's not that bad. Nope, I don't need it." Later on in the day, we watched Carol take her seasickness medication. She's like, "Sure you don't want one, Jerry?" Nope, I don't need it. And within 2 hours of that, he was in bed, seasick, like you wouldn't believe.
I was so seasick that I didn't even turn on the TV to watch Love Boat in my cabin. It was like down and out, didn't want to lift my head, seasick. So it was probably the worst I've been in a long time.
I bought 100 seasickness tablets just in case. So it wasn't because we didn't have them. We had them. Anyways.
It turns out you have to take these seasickness tablets before you get seasick is what I found out the hard way.
You've only been told that 100 times by everybody. But anyways, so yes, Mr. I don't want to take a pill unless I have to suffered that first day, unfortunately.
And what I also found out at that moment, we were seasick in my cabin. I love it when a cruise stays tied up to the dock. It was really comfortable. There was no waves.
The first 3 days of that trip was fine for you.
I had no seasickness tied to the dock, and it was my favorite part of that. But the first half of the cruise, at least.
He's ridiculous, isn't he?
To back it up to see what Princess did for us in this situation, because clearly this was a drastic change to our itinerary, that we were still going to be gone on a 10-day cruise.
Yeah.
But instead of having 6 or 5 port calls and 4 different spots, we were going to have just 1 port call for 3 nights.
Right.
So the first thing they had to overcome was what were we going to do in Brooklyn? So we were tied up to the dock, and they generously, I believe, offered to provide free ferries from the Brooklyn terminal across to the south part of Manhattan.
That's right.
Or you could hop on a
coach bus
and go right into Times Square and come back and forth that way if you didn't want to do the ferry.
That's right.
And so, So
they offered free transportation for the 3 days that we were there tied up. And then they also gave us $250 onboard credit American each to use throughout the voyage. And they gave us 50% of what we paid for our base fare in future cruise credits.
Which was lots of money.
Yeah, so we thought that was very generous and very appropriate.
Yeah, between the onboard credit and what we had to be able to put towards a future cruise, when you had all of that cash up, it came to thousands of dollars, like over $3,000 Canadian at least. We added it all up that we were able to use for another cruise and also use when we were on board for booking excursions is what we ended up doing with some of the money that was onboard credit.
Yeah, so we really felt that Princess treated us right. And we were on the ship and we had a fabulous 3 days in New York. And, we had a fabulous rest of the cruise. So let's talk about some of that.
So, and I guess what a funny side story to all this is as we're staying tied up comfortably to the dock and not risking it, a certain cruise ship from a certain company that we don't cruise with anymore said, heck, we're going to go through this storm. We don't care less. We're going to head down the coast and go where we're going anyways.
Yeah, so the Carnival Vesna they left port the same day
we were supposed to go.
They were going down to the same sort of parts of the Caribbean that we were heading to.
So they did get down there after going through a lot of rough weather, and it turns out that all the beginning ports that they were supposed to go to ended up being canceled because of the waves. I don't know if I told you that, but so they actually didn't get to go where they were. So they risked all that to get down there to get to somewhere they couldn't get to. So I think that we came out of the deal a little bit better.
Yeah, we were very thankful to the captain and to Princess and whoever made those final decisions, which I'm sure the captain had a large role in it. But yes, we had a fabulous vacation because we felt that the right decision was made.
Yeah, we prefer not, even though we like East Coast of Canada, we didn't really want to go there. We wanted to go to Bermuda.
Yeah.
Even though we wanted to go to the Caribbean for some snorkeling and some warm weather. We'd been to those stops before, so that wasn't terrible for us. And we were fairly compensated, we thought, for that. And we got to go to the spot we really wanted to go to, which was Bermuda, and even for an extra day. So we felt that with all that together, we came out of the deal really well.
Yeah. And Bermuda is beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. It has been on my list for years to want to get to. So the fact that we were able to get there, and not only get there, but get there and spend an extra day there was wonderful for me. Like Jerry said, we had 3 nights there, 2.5 days approximately. And so I felt like we had a nice lengthy amount of time that we really got to explore the beautifulness that is Bermuda. Not only just how it looks, but the people in Bermuda were so friendly and welcoming. We just had a fabulous 3 days there. And so that was definitely the highlight for me. But we also found that the Island Princess was a highlight for us too, because we thoroughly enjoyed that cruise ship. Do you want to talk about that part of it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, so going into this, I would have argued, and I have said this many times, that my favorite princess ship of all times was the Caribbean Princess. I loved it for all the lounges and all the pools and everything else around it. Absolutely loved it. And then after being on the Island Princess, I stopped and I thought, I actually like the Island Princess better than the Caribbean Princess. I love the Caribbean Princess, but the Island Princess for me was a next level of what I picture classic cruising looks like. And that's the type of cruising I like. I felt it had so many venues, so much space, so many personal touches to it that there was nothing cookie cutter. There was nothing, typical about it. It was its own feel, this ship.
So last year when we did the Volendam, we were shocked at how much we fell in love with the smaller ship that Holland America has with the Volendam. And I felt like the Island Princess would be the princess equivalent to that experience for us. We felt like we were never in crowds or in lines waiting for anything, that there was plenty of staff throughout the ship. And because it was a smaller ship, you got to know the staff a little bit better, I guess, because you're hanging out in the same areas a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. But we just felt like we developed some wonderful relationships with staff and crew on this ship. And we had a fabulous experience.
Yeah, absolutely love the Island Princess. And for those that don't know, the Island Princess and the Coral Princess, sister ships, are now the 2 smallest ships in the Princess fleet.
Yeah.
And we weren't sure we were going to think of that. We were also worried about how the ship handled in the weather. It actually did pretty good in the weather. It was more a me problem than other people didn't have the problem.
That's right. Paul and Carol that took the seasickness medicine didn't feel it for a minute. I took no medicine and I still did, and I didn't feel anything.
And I would argue that we've been in rougher seas in the Mediterranean.
Yes.
And I didn't have that response. So that was a me thing. But the Island Princess is a gem, I think, in the Princess fleet that I would tell anybody, what's a princess ship I need to go on? I'd be pointing in that direction. Like, I really, really love that style of ship.
Yeah, it definitely is a classic cruising experience in our opinion. And so we felt like that was the case.
Yeah. And what was really interesting about our cruise is the way they timed it out is so it took us like 2.5 days at sea to get to Bermuda because they were just putting along. But the reason I think they did that was because the hurricane was still getting out of the way. So if they would have sped up and went the normal speed to Bermuda, we would have got into heavier and heavier weather. So they kind of just kept on tailing behind. So instead of having 20 to 30 foot crazy seas, we had these, 8 to 12 foot swells after the first, couple hours. They settled down quite a bit for that.
But just lovely sunny days.
Yeah, we had good weather. You could be outside. We went to the sanctuary. So so I think that, it was funny because it took us that long to get there, but it took us 1 day to get back. So it tells you how much control they have with how long it takes to get places.
That's right.
But yeah, Bermuda, 3 days. It's funny because I thought, what are you going to do at the same spot for 3 days? It's just another island that's, warm and beachy. And I feel that we could have spent more time there.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely feel like I could have. We did do some excursions through Princess. because they gave us the $250 onboard credit. So we thought, let's spend that money and do some extra special excursions. So we got to Bermuda at like 3:00 in the afternoon, and we had a sunset catamaran excursion that very first night. So that was lovely. It was the perfect welcome, in my opinion, to start our time in Bermuda. We had a beautiful catamaran ride with lovely crew, and just could see all the parts of the island, and it was lovely. And then the next day we did stuff all on our own, which was really easy to do. So, we'll be showing that all in the vlog series, but that was great. We felt safe and looked after the whole time. Got to meet some wonderful local people throughout that day, and it was fabulous. Mm-hmm. And then our next day we went snorkeling, because that's my love, and we did a catamaran snorkeling thing. So yeah, and it was like, before we knew it, it was time to leave, and we thought, wow, we thought we were going to have so much time here, but it just went like that because it was so fabulous.
Yeah, for sure. After being in Bermuda, it made me think that maybe that's a destination to go to on its own, and fly to Bermuda and spend a week there type of thing at a hotel and enjoy the place. But shopping in Bermuda, the expenses in Bermuda could be quite high because everything pretty well is shipped in. And so we were in a grocery store with Paul and Carol looking at stuff. Part of the reason we went there was because they don't consider the names of foods even the same as what we do most foods. So we were trying to debate what things were called. Mm-hmm. But we were also curious to see the pricing in there. And people were so friendly that even though they were in the middle of shopping for their groceries in their hometown, here we are, tourists, and they're looking at their stuff in kind of, daze and confusion. And she's stopping to help us and talk about the price of things and what she finds living on the island. Like, such friendly people. Yeah.
Wonderful. We had a lovely conversation with a lady that was there doing her weekly grocery shopping. We probably just sat there or stood there and talked to her for a good 15, 20 minutes. It was great.
Yeah, same thing. We got on the buses and we're like, we had a bus schedule. We thought it was the right bus. We were looking for signs, couldn't figure stuff out. But you really don't need anything like that in Bermuda, because you just ask the person next to you, where do I get off? What do I do? Can you help me out? Everybody was so helpful, but nobody was selling. Nobody thought, oh, here's a tourist, I can make some money.
Yeah,
I can,
there was none of that.
It was welcoming. There was never a person that, when you're on your beach somewhere in the Caribbean, sometimes you're trying to like, no, thank you, push people away. Bermuda was the opposite, the complete opposite. Yeah,
exactly.
So Bermuda will be high on our list, I think, to get back to.
Absolutely.
As will the Island Princess.
If you're thinking, is what island should I go to that I haven't been, I would put Bermuda high up there on the list for anybody, because it was gorgeous. And like Jerry said, we didn't have enough time to go there. We're already talking about when we go next, what we're going to do. We want to do A, B, and C. And so we're already, at that stage that we know this is a place we're returning to.
Yeah, and the Island Princess was so nice, and I thought it was such a good ship that I turned to Mrs. Canuck and I said, so what do you think? I said, is Island Princess your new favorite ship? And she said no.
I forgot about this one. He's bringing this up live. But no, you didn't say my favorite ship. You said, what do you think was your
favorite ship? Yeah.
No, you didn't say.
Yeah, I said, what's your favorite ship? If it's not Island Princess.
And I asked, what do you mean by favorite? Do you mean by looks or by design, or I'm having the best experience? Because that differs, right? Anyways, and he said by looks. And so I had to give it to Celebrity Apex, because I just felt like the Celebrity Apex is, if I was to design a ship, that would be how I would design it. I love the artwork on that ship. I love the modern features of it. I love the size of the cabin. So that's why I said Celebrity Apex. Well, he acted like he had been crushed, because of course that was not his opinion. So, want me to ask, what is your favorite ship?
I don't know.
You don't know what it is?
It's a very tight race between the Volendam and the Island Princess.
There you go.
I think if I go on the Coral Princess, I hear that I will like it better. We kept talking to staff around the ship saying, we love this ship. Yeah. And the staff kept telling us, if you love this ship, you would absolutely love the Coral Princess, because it's everything plus more.
More.
There's another lounge in there. There's other spaces. There's an international cafe. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's things in the Coral Princess that take all the benefits and all the great things about the Island Princess and take it one step a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So now we're searching for Coral Princess cruises, of course.
Yeah, we are. Do you want to go into the comments here and see if anybody has any questions and comments to share?
Sure.
All right. I've got one here for you.
Uh-oh. I have to find it then, don't I?
I have a weather question for you.
A weather question?
No, I thought you would like that.
I definitely have to go back and find a weather question. Does it have the word question in it?
It does. It says, hi from Oregon, and then question.
I see one here.
Go further up. It's
question
before
for
that
Jerry?
one. Before that one. Go further up. Sorry, guys.
Looking. Hi from Oregon. Question.
There you go. You
There
got
we
it. It's Jennifer. And Jennifer is asking, Jerry, is this year's hurricane season progressing as expected? Do you think it might be worse late or longer than usual?
That's a tough one. I didn't prepare any charts or graphs or maps.
He would like a half an hour so he could go do some research and get back to you on that, Jennifer.
It's interesting because I always see the mainstream forecasts from the mainstream sources, and I often don't agree, and I'm also question where they come from. I would say that I expected a fairly typical hurricane season. Here we are now in mid-September, and I feel like it hasn't, even though we're already at Hurricane, I don't know if there's been an F or G, actually Hurricane J, if we ever get there, is going to be Hurricane Jerry. Fun note. But I think it hasn't been as active as I expected, put it that way. So, which is a good thing for the people that live in the path of hurricanes. That's probably really good news. So I didn't think it was going to be a crazy year, but I thought it was going to be a pretty steady, normal year. And I feel like it's still lagging. So maybe there's still more to come. I don't know, the current pattern that we're in now with the cold weather up north, there's a bunch of factors right now that looks like it's going to be quiet at least for the next week or two, maybe some offshore stuff, but nothing really threatening for the Caribbean or the U.S. So it looks like it's going to stay quiet. If we get too far into September and October, then we're really past the peak part of the season, and then we'll be saying, okay, yeah, it wasn't as bad as we thought. Hope that explains it.
All right, so sort of a follow-up from there, Jillian is sort of asking the same similar thing. So the hurricane season is supposed to end November 10th. What chances will it be extended? I'm worried as I'll be crossing the Atlantic in a heavy hurricane track area at that time.
So I think the official end of hurricane season is, I thought it was October 31st is the official, not that the weather follows anything official, but I do think that, so what happens as you get farther and farther into the end of hurricane season, you get kind of hurricanes, or even not even hurricanes, but strong storms that come up the East Coast. They turn more into like nor'easters, these big, huge, like perfect storm type of setups that we've seen in the past. And they head up through the Atlantic and they head towards Europe. So that kind of plays into your question there. And I think any time from, September, October through to almost December, you have the risk of those big, huge storms that become weather bombs sometimes, and they head up across the Atlantic. So, yeah, I think you will be at risk. But, like we've seen, we've traveled during hurricane season for 20 years, and this is the first time we've had any dramatic changes to our itinerary. So it really is luck of the draw. When the storm pops up, it pops up. And definitely between June and December, you've got a chance of these strong storms developing, more likely right around now, and less likely as you get towards the end of hurricane season. So your chances are less then than they are now, but there's still a chance. So I wouldn't say never. And like I said, a lot of those storms that are strong in the fall in the North Atlantic really do kind of, focus on that time of year and that location. So it'll be something to watch for, but hopefully it all goes well for you.
There you go. All right. And I'm just going to go into a few comments now. I'm seeing Kate made a comment saying, I love the wheelhouse bar on the Caribbean Princess. We'll be on it for the third time at the end of November. So it's lovely when they have a nice, and Peggy's sort of following up on that, saying the wheelhouse bar on the Diamond Princess is big as well. So it's lovely, right? It's a great venue. And, we were so happy when we heard that the Sun Princess was going to have a wheelhouse bar. And then we got on the Sun Princess and we saw how small it was. And we went, no, this isn't what we were thinking. Because we were thinking it was going to be, like the size the Caribbean Princess has and other similar ships.
Yeah. And I just realized I was going through different ships and comparing itineraries. And I realized that the Emerald Princess that we were on in the East Coast of Canada, they've now taken the wheelhouse bar and turned it into the Irish pub. So they totally took out the wheelhouse bar. So hope that's not a trend that we see continue in the future.
Oh.
That's something we didn't mention about the Island Princess was the pop-up venues.
Yeah, so because it doesn't have, say, the O'Malley's pub on it or the Alfredo's Pizzeria, what they were doing was the specialty restaurants that they have, which was Sabatini's and the Crown Grill, during the day, they would turn those into O'Malley's pub and Alfredo's Pizzeria. So that was a really great option. You're able to go there for lunch, and if you had the Princess Plus package, you could go there included in your package. The Premier, of course, you can. Anyways, so we did that a couple of times, and we thought that worked really well. On a smaller ship, you still got to have some of the perks that you would get when you're going on a bigger ship without being on the bigger ship. So we really appreciated that feature.
Yeah, especially something like O'Malley's that we find is really hit and miss on the ships where the venue's even there as far as when they serve lunch and all that. So we thought that it was an interesting way. Now, the menus were slightly reduced from what you would find on the actual venues. That was the only downside to the pop-ups is...
It was a little bit smaller, yeah.
Yeah, that we found that the Alfredo's menu and everything else didn't have all the items that you'd find at the actual Alfredo's establishment on the bigger ships. And I've got Liz from Stouffville. They board the Regal Princess September 28th.
Wow.
And
I have a question here from Jack.
From Jack.
Jack is asking, did you have the Plus or Premier, and did the drink package work while docked at Brooklyn? So yes, we did have the Plus package, and it worked perfectly throughout there. There was no extra fees. And the other advantage, we've been docked in Canadian ports on Princess, and they're only allowed to open one bar per level of the cruise ship. That wasn't the case on this experience on the island Princess. So I guess maybe the rules are different in the States, but every bar was open. It was fully functional from the time we got on. It worked seamlessly.
Yeah,
and
there was no extra
to use it. There was no fees.
No extra taxes. Like sometimes some ports I've seen in the past where you have a fee for like a 75 cents for a drink type of thing for the fees for while you're in port still in the state.
Yeah, so you would have had that if you didn't have the drink package, because there was one night we went to a specialty restaurant and I ordered a glass of wine that I guess was out of the package. So I had a small couple $1 charge because of that. And I saw on our bill that there was a little bit of a New York state tax put on that. It was just a few cents, but there was there. Yeah.
Jillian is saying she was on a cruise with severe weather. It affected her.
A military cruise, so they continued on with the mission. Yeah. I don't normally get seasick, but I did then. Yeah, I was wondering whether, I was afraid prior to us getting on the ship that I thought if the ship doesn't stay at dock, I might get seasick. So we bought lots of medication just in case. But luckily for me, I didn't have to worry about it.
And Bruce and Tony are saying they love the Bermuda tourist destination without the Diamonds International vibe. And I think that captures it really well.
You're right. Well said. There is none of that feeling whatsoever. You're just a visitor in this beautiful location.
Yep.
Yeah. And it didn't feel touristy, and it didn't feel, any of that.
Kat wants to know, did a lot of people cancel the cruise? And is that why it felt not crowded?
So we were told, we asked the head of guest services a few days into the voyage when we were speaking with him, and we were told that 100 people chose to disembark. So that wasn't a lot when we were at just over 2,000 people.
Yeah, the ship holds around 2,200, I believe.
Right. And we were sailing with just under 2,100 people.
Yeah, so less than 5% got off the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how much of a difference it was. So not enough. And it was really interesting because some people, we saw the suitcases get piled up here and there in the atrium, I think, as people were leaving. And people didn't get off just the first day. Some people got off the second day.
Yeah, some people stayed the first night and got off the second night. We thought that was kind of funny. If you were going to leave, wouldn't you leave before you spent one night? But no, we saw people. There were a few people that left that very first night. We saw people leaving as we were coming out of the dining room type thing. And then there were some people the next day that were leaving, which kind of puzzled us. But yeah, that's what happened. And Kate... Oh yeah, no, that's it. Becky's saying, I've been on the island and Coral, love them both. Would choose Coral over the island. They added more cabins, disrupting the wraparound promenade, right? Plus the Coral has an international cafe. It's true.
Yeah,
they do. Yeah.
Now the island has a thing called, what was the name of it? It was some kind of an Italian cafe, Amuletto or something like that.
Something like that.
What it was the very forward part of the buffet, because the buffet is at the forward part of the ship. Mm-hmm. And there was a little part of the front that was kind of mimicked the International Cafe a little bit. It was open from 6 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. You could get little pastries there. It became a little bit of a breakfast station in the morning as well. But you had all your
specialty coffees. And specialty teas and all of that there.
Yeah, so it kind of was, maybe 3/4 of what the International Cafe is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you couldn't get it around the clock, but it was morning to late.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Chris has a question.
Oh, yeah?
No, sorry, you can read that one if you want.
Let me pop it up on the screen. Did you find the formal or traditional or relaxed like newer ships?
That's a good question, because I did make a comment to Jerry. We thought, oh, it's going to be a hot cruise and we're traveling a lot. Let's not get real formal and not bring a suit or tux and just bring a blazer. And I would say that there was quite a few people in suits, and we even saw some men in tuxedos on the formal nights. There were two formal nights. But then there were also people that weren't. We did actually see somebody get turned away from the main dining room on a formal night because he came in with shorts and a ball cap on.
Short shorts.
Well, they weren't that. I don't know if they were that, but he was wearing shorts, and he was turned away because he wasn't wearing long pants to the dining room.
I would say that in the middle section of like, there's just a few in tuxes and then a few that were trying to sneak in without anything appropriate on. That the big section was kind of either a jacket or a suit, so a jacket with a tie.
So
it's kind of right in the middle of those. That was a nice healthy mix is what we noticed. So
I would say
I don't know if that's any more or less formal than the big ships, I guess was the question.
Yeah. I thought there was more tuxedos than I've seen lately is what stood out in my mind. Mm-hmm.
And Stacy says that she loves Bermuda too. We got lost and two ladies had us follow their car and showed us how to get back to the ship.
Yeah, that's exactly what we found with the people. They just like came up to me and said, "Can we help you? Where are you trying to walk to?" When they saw me staring at street signs, stuff like that. They were just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Beverly is saying,
my son and I went helmet diving in Bermuda many years ago. It was very interesting and the guide was very knowledgeable. I think my son was 10 at the time. Still have a video of our dive. That's lovely. What a wonderful memory.
Yeah, it's interesting you're saying about our guide was very knowledgeable. It's one thing we found is the people that were hosting the excursions that we were on, they were so chatty and proud of their island, proud to talk to people about things, also so friendly, but also not, there to try to get your money and do the sales thing. They were just literally there. You're on your boat, have a good time. Really qualified, lots of personality in them. Like it was a special place.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And who else you got here?
Frank is saying, looking at the Coral Princess wine cruise from Los Angeles to Estonia, Oregon, and Vancouver, a great small ship. Ooh, that sounds wonderful. Yeah. When is that, Frank? Oh, I might be getting Mr. Canuck looking for a cruise. Yeah, that sounds lovely.
We did do a wine tasting on there.
Yes, we did.
It wasn't our best wine tasting.
No, it was probably the poorest wine tasting we've ever done. I will say it was most disorganized wine tasting.
Yeah, it wasn't the wine was bad.
It wasn't the wine. It was unfortunately mismanaged. That would be our only sort of complaint of the whole trip, really. Yeah,
we've done another cruise lines and it was much more organized than this, and I think that's all they needed.
And educational. This wasn't. No. It was literally, here, try this wine and leave. That's how it felt. It just, we weren't impressed with that.
Tracy did the Coral on the Alaska cruise past May. Mm. So lots of fans of the Coral. Mm. I definitely think we would like it. Do you think the Coral will be better than the Apex?
No. You asked me about what I think is the most beautiful ship that I've been on. That is the most beautiful ship. Sorry. Oh. Tracy's asking, did we fly from Toronto? Did you stay a night before? We did not fly from Toronto. We flew from Sault Ste. Marie local area here. And we did stay a night before. Yes. We always fly a night before just because we've had too many flight problems not to give us that buffering time.
Yeah, even with New York, which is pretty close, a short flight, we just, especially from us coming from where we are, we have to go through local airports, make a connection, and get somewhere else. It's not direct from where we are.
You can't
that's our big reason for overnights is because, it's different if we were flying direct like Toronto to New York. Yeah. I can almost see how you could do that without an overnight.
Mm-hmm. Question, where did you dock? At the Old Navy dockyards or downtown Hamilton? So we docked at the Old Navy dockyard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, although we have seen some ships, smaller ships still than the Island Princess, that do manage to dock in Hamilton itself. Even Carol, that was with it, Paul and Carol, she used to work on cruise ships with Celebrity, and she said some of their smaller ships back when she was on there, that's a long time ago, that they used to go right into Hamilton as well. So
that's pretty cool.
We weren't in Hamilton, so hopefully we can find a cruise that does that.
Mm-hmm.
Gates is
saying the Island Princess was his first princess cruise and was to Alaska. Cool. Very cool. Oh, you've got a You've got a football update.
Football update.
You're
Dolphins
not doing well.
are not doing well. That's not bad though in a way, because a lot of times in the last recent few years the Dolphins seem to do well at the beginning and they fizzle at the end. So maybe we're getting it out of the way now. Yeah, although it's against the Indianapolis Colts.
Beverly's asking, are we doing the Celebrity Apex in December? I'm going with my family December the 13th to the 20th. We are not. We are cruising that time, but it will not be with Celebrity.
Yeah, I just don't think the Apex is like a nice enough looking ship.
Anything to disagree with me. Yeah. Anyways.
Kat is saying that both the Coral and the Islander be used in 26-27 for their circle cruises.
Oh, okay.
I do find that both ships are a little difficult to find itineraries on if you just want a getaway cruise type of thing, that they do longer, more exotics for sure, especially the Coral.
Crystal is asking a question, and the answer is yes, Crystal, you need to do it. And her question is, we're going on a cruise over Halloween. Would you dress up? What would you dress up as? What would you? Oh, so she is dressing up. She wants to know what.
What?
So we dressed up as Fred and Wilma when we did our Halloween cruise. What would we do if we went on another one?
Well, if it's a couple, I don't know, you could dress up as a nurse and doctor.
No.
Oh.
Nurse and patient, maybe?
Patient.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. You shouldn't even. I was thinking nice, cute things like Raggedy Ann and Andy. You know, that's where my head went to.
Oh.
But you're nurse and...
I'm picturing Mad Doctor with a saw and some blood and someone in half. Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah, you can tell the different personalities of us. But, yeah. A nice couple costume. Has to be a couple costume for you and Steve.
Yeah. Although I think there's some benefit in like just the girl dressing up and the guy doesn't have to.
Yeah, as if.
Don't you think?
No, I do not think. I do not think.
I'm trying, Stephen.
No. Let us know what you come up with. We want to see pictures for sure.
Oh, so we're over the hour.
Okay.
Yes, it always goes fast when you're having a good time. But I did want to bring everybody up to speed on the next live. And the next live, should we get one more question in? Do they, if there's a delay or miss the cruise? Just Dominico is asking a question.
When you take the flight with the cruise line, do they help you if there was a delay and you miss the cruise? Yes, they do. They absolutely do. So that's one of the benefits of booking with the cruise line. For your airfare, they look after you. We know that people that have had that problems due to weather, and the cruise line will fly you however way they can get you there. And if they can't get you there for embarkation day, they'll get you at the first port of call. So yes, they do look after it all. And it's kind of a great insurance policy.
Yeah, sometimes it might not be like the cheapest flight you can get anywhere else in the world than what the cruise offers. Usually they're fairly competitive prices though. And then that's kind of like booking an excursion with them. You book it with them, they're going to take care of you.
They're going to look after you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we'll call it.
Okay.
But just the next live will not be next weekend. So our September is pretty busy with things going on, everything from a boat being pulled out of the water to family stuff we were catching up with from being off cruising. So we're going to be doing lives every other week in September. And then right around our Canadian Thanksgiving, we'll get back to do the weekly live. So we won't be next week, but we will be the week after that. Is the plan. So, and we got some announcements coming up. We got a couple of cruises this fall, so we'll be talking about those. We also got to get some final details out about our 2027 group cruise. So hopefully we can get all that wrapped up and to you in the next couple lives.
That's right.
So thanks everybody for joining us today.
And like the Hadley Coles are saying, if you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. And we're wishing everybody a great week.
Yes.
We'll talk soon.
Good 2 weeks, because we'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Bye for now.